Divine strength revealed. Stop seeking fairness and embrace miraculous deliverance in 40 days. In the heart of Willowbrook, whispers of a legendary relic ignited a fervor among the villagers. It was said to possess divine power to heal, to cure what was thought incurable. Each Sunday at the old stone church, fervent hearts gathered, candlelight flickering like prayerful souls lifting to the heavens. This was no ordinary season. Hope surged like a tidal wave, promising miracles around every corner. And at the center of it all was Margaret, a mother whose unwavering faith burned bright amid the shadows of doubt. As her husband faced an unyielding job market, Margaret's spirit felt the strain. They had bills piling high, like towering storm clouds darkening their little cottage. Yet the gentle hum of prayer, mingled with the solace of community, provided some respite. Each Sunday, the congregation joined hands in faith, imploring God for mercy and divine support. But that fateful morning, something shifted in the air. Margaret could sense it. A call rang clear in her heart, a call to embark on a 40-day journey of prayer, inspired by the saints of old. "Gather your strength, we will pray together," Pastor James encouraged, his eyes bright with spiritual fervor. Margaret turned to her circle of friends, each one bearing their crosses, yet united in hope as they took up the challenge. They met in the church, candles pooling light around their kneeling frames, beseeching heaven with every heartfelt request. But as days blended into weeks, despair shadowed their faith. Was God truly listening? Would their prayers carve a path toward the miraculous they so desperately sought? One evening, as burdens weighed heavy on her heart, Margaret's children played quietly in the corner. They looked blissfully unaware of their parents' struggles, yet Margaret knew the tension hung thick in the air. Would the relic bring change? Could it guide her family from uncertainty to promise? When whispers of skepticism filled the village, hearts divided, she sought refuge in prayer, inviting her family to join her. The four of them huddled together, pressing their palms together, earnestly entreating God for direction and peace. And then came the night of their prayer meeting. The church felt charged, alive with the hopes of all present. As fervent voices rose, a unison of prayers formed a tapestry of faith. Margaret felt tingles of anticipation dance through her, as if the air itself vibrated with divine presence. Would tonight unlock the doors of heaven? As prayers ascended like incense, the atmosphere shifted. Suddenly, the church doors swung open, releasing a gust of air that swept through the congregation. Murmurs spread like wildfire. Stories of healings and life changes reached their ears, fueling their hope anew. Margaret's heart raced. Was this the moment they had prayed for? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening.
YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As the pastor's voice resonated through the sacred space, Margaret felt an inexplicable peace wash over her. She sensed that perhaps the true miracle was not just in the seeking of fairness, but in the surrendering of fears. Yet, as the congregation basked in miracles crowding around them, doubt gnawed at her heart. What if God had his own plan, one that was greater and different than her own desires? With the air thick with divine mystery, Margaret stood at a pivotal crossroads. In that very moment, she understood. The real miracle awaited, lingering just out of reach, cloaked in serenity and challenge. And as joy and wonder swirled, the question loomed over her. Would they embrace whatever miracle was to come? The weeks passed, each day a rhythmic pulse of faith and longing. Margaret rose early each morning, the sun barely cresting over Willowbrook, casting golden hues that danced upon her worn kitchen table. She would begin her day in prayer, her spirit seeking God's guidance and strength. Yet doubts fluttered through her mind like restless shadows. Would the relic truly offer salvation, or was it simply a beacon of false hope? On the seventh day of their journey, Margaret and her friends gathered once more at the church. The scent of fresh coffee and baked goods filled the air, a comforting hug for their weary souls. Laughter mingled with prayers, creating a symphony of faith and fellowship that muffled the weight of their worries. But Margaret caught glimpses of worry in the eyes of her companions, hearts trembling under the weight of expectations. "Gather close," Pastor James called softly, gathering them together in a gentle embrace of community. Remember, faith is not a currency we can barter with. It's a gift we choose to receive. God doesn't measure our worth by the miracles we seek, but by the love we pour into one another. Those words echoed through Margaret's heart, igniting a small flame of hope. Love, perhaps this was the essence of the journey. Connecting with each other, lifting each other up as they waited for the divine breakthrough. As they knelt together, hands enfolded around flickering candles, an incredible stillness enveloped them. Each breath became a prayer, each heartbeat a step closer to understanding. When she closed her eyes, Margaret envisioned the relic, a soft glow shimmering in her mind, representing healing not just for her family, but for the entire village. Would it be a sign of hope, or merely the act of faith itself that would create change?
Days morphed into evenings, and the townsfolk began to whisper of miracles that extended beyond the church. Stories of healing spread like wildfire, lives transformed, hearts mended. Yet for every tale that soared on wings of faith, Margaret found herself wrestling with feelings of inadequacy. Why had their circumstances not changed despite their fervent prayers? One crisp evening, just as twilight kissed the horizon, Margaret descended into the woods behind her home to clear her thoughts. The air teemed with an intoxicating sweetness, illuminated by the silvery glow of the moon. Walking softly, she could hear the leaves rustling, as if the universe itself conspired to uplift her spirit. Suddenly she paused. There, beneath an old oak, she spotted a small stone, half buried in the earth. Kneeling down, she brushed away the dirt and was taken aback by its beauty. A small, heart-shaped rock, radiating an energy that felt alive. Margaret clutched it tightly in her palm, an unexpected gift from nature itself. Could this be a sign? Was God speaking to her through the language of creation? She smiled, realizing that the miraculous wasn't bound merely to the relic or the stories of others. It could unfold in the quiet moments of daily life, in the whispers of providence that surrounded them, often unseen. As the night deepened, nestled under the stars, Margaret returned home, her heart buoyed by this simple revelation. She thought of her children, their innocent laughter, and how each day brought small victories masked within struggles. Yet anticipation buzzed in the air. With the gathering storm of hope and divine mystery, what greater miracles awaited them through faith, resilience, and the tender love shared among them? With renewed vigor, Margaret knew she had to share her newfound belief with the congregation. Would they recognize the beauty of these simple moments as miracles in their own right? And would the heart of Willowbrook truly awaken to the profound truth that lay within every act of love? As the village approached the dawn of new beginnings, a profound question lingered on her heart. Could they all embrace this deeper understanding? And when the time came for the relic to be revealed, would they be ready to accept its true gift? As the sun rose the following morning, Margaret felt a fresh wave of determination swell within her. The heart-shaped stone rested like a warm ember in her pocket, a tangible reminder of the connection she had discovered with God's creation. While the world outside her window began to stir, she found solace in the stillness of her kitchen, the gentle clinking of her coffee cup punctuating a quiet rhythm of thought. Today was the day. She would gather her friends and share her heart, all that she had seen and felt in the presence of that little stone. Perhaps the whispers of miracles were calling them to dive deeper into their own faith journeys. As the clock ticked lazily toward noon, Margaret stood at the threshold of the church, her heart racing. She could hear the familiar sounds of chatter, of her friends sharing stories, laughter lightening the weight of their burdens. Taking a deep breath, she stepped inside, ready to illuminate the path with her little revelation. "Can I have your attention?" she called, the warm timbre of her voice cutting through the conversations like a gentle breeze. The room quieted, eyes turning toward her, their faces a mixture of curiosity and concern. "I found something," Margaret started, producing the stone and holding it aloft like a precious treasure. "Last night in the woods. It's just a stone, but it has shown me how beautifully God speaks through the simplest of things. I realized the miracles we seek might not always be grand. They often lie hidden in our everyday lives." Pastor James nodded gently, a knowing smile on his lips, urging her forward with encouragement. Margaret continued, her voice steady. "We've heard stories of miracles, of transformations in our community. But what if our greatest miracle is understanding this truth, that love is expressed not just in the monumental, but also in the mundane? Murmurs of agreement rippled through the congregation, an awakening feeling bubbling beneath the surface. It's in the laughter shared over a cup of tea. It's in the smiles of friends as they gather to lift each other's burdens. Just last week, Emily brought soup to my family. That was a miracle, a tangible gift of love. A flicker of recognition swept through the group. They began to acknowledge these moments, remembering acts of kindness they had either given or received. Hope glinted in their eyes, brightening even the weariest hearts. You see, Margaret said, faith isn't always about receiving the extraordinary. It's about seeing the extraordinary within the ordinary. God is here, among us, transforming our lives through love and connection. As she spoke, the air buzzed with a palpable energy. This was no longer just a gathering of friends. It was a community awakening to its purpose, hearts opening wide like flowers reaching toward the sun. Margaret caught the gaze of her friend Sarah, and she knew in that moment they were on the brink of something greater. Sarah stood up, her voice breaking the heavy atmosphere. What if we committed to finding these moments every day for the next 40 days? Could we not inspire one another to love deeply and see God's hand at work? Yes, others chimed, excitement lighting their faces as they began to share their plans for acts of love and kindness. Laughter erupted, filled with light. But amidst that joy, a tender awareness wove itself through the gathering. Margaret felt it, the urgency of heaven urging them to unite and seek a collective transformation. What would emerge from these 40 days?
Would the villagers witness the beauty of love uniting them, or would they transcend to something more divine, more miraculous? A thought rustled through Margaret's mind. Could they unlock a hidden power within their community? And what unseen forces were already at play as they embarked on this journey of love? As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting hues of hope, Margaret realized a transformation was impending, and their collective faith was about to illuminate the village in ways they had yet to fathom. In the days that followed, the air in the village shimmered with anticipation. Each morning, Margaret rose early, clutching her heart-shaped stone, a precious reminder of the journey they had embarked upon. She felt its warmth seep through her fingers like a gentle embrace from God Himself. It filled her with courage, urging her to seek out small acts of love scattered throughout the days. In their first Sunday service after the call to action, a subtle shift was palpable. The congregation buzzed with a renewed energy, each face reflecting a light that seemed to glow from within. They gathered with intention, sharing stories not just of their daily lives, but of the little miracles that had unfolded since Margaret's invitation. "I was struggling to manage my garden," said old Mr. Thompson one Sunday, a shy grin creeping across his weathered face as he finally stood to share. "But my neighbor Emma showed up with plant cuttings, turning my mess into a miracle of blooms, one wrapping the audience in a sacred embrace." Margaret beamed with joy, for it wasn't just her idea becoming a reality, it was a divine movement sweeping through the village. This dance of love and kindness unlocked hidden doors within them, urging people like Sarah, who'd once held back, to step forward boldly when she said, "I couldn't have made it through the week without the meals my church family provided. I think I've spoken to God through every bite." Days turned into weeks, and the 40-day challenge transformed not just individual hearts, but the entire community spirit. They gathered every Saturday afternoon to share what they had experienced. The stories of love poured out like the rain that nourished the soil. Each account painted a vivid picture of how God was weaving their lives intricately together, thread by thread. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Margaret noticed a new warmth enveloping their fellowship. Even the most reserved among them felt emboldened to share. Just then, Pastor James took a step forward, his eyes glistening with tears of gratitude. "Each of you has opened a doorway to the miraculous. What we've experienced together is just a taste of what can happen when we come together in love."
That night, as they prayed, Margaret sensed something greater stirring in the atmosphere. Was it mere imagination, or was heaven itself quietly guiding their every word, every heart shared? A divine invitation lingered in the air. A question echoed within her spirit. What if God wasn't just using their acts of love to bond them together, but using them to heal the very fabric of their community? As they left that evening, the stars shone brightly in the velvet sky, each a reminder of hope and connection. Margaret felt an urge to take it further, to not only embrace the moments of love, but to call others, those who drifted away from faith or felt lost, to join them in this miraculous journey. Heart-pounding, she contemplated a new call, a bold one. What if they not only shared their stories, but also reached out into the wider village? What if they opened their arms wide to everyone, embodying this love far beyond their close-knit circles? A blend of fear and excitement washed over her. Would they witness a transformative ripple effect, reaching into the streets and homes of those who had lost hope? As she looked up, she could hardly wait to see the forthcoming days. Faith crackled in the air around her, and Margaret sensed they were just at the beginning. What barriers might they break down together as they daringly stepped into the miraculous unknown? The following week, anticipation grew as Margaret approached her fellow congregants after the service. She stood before them, heart racing with urgency and love. The time felt ripe for the next chapter in their shared journey. "Dear friends," she began, her voice steady yet filled with fervor, "what if our acts of love could extend even further? I want us to reach out to the families in our village who may feel forgotten. What if we can share these blessings beyond our walls?" A hush fell over the room as her words hung in the air, inviting reflection. Faces turned towards each other, uncertainty dancing in their eyes. Then Sarah, no longer the hesitant soul she once was, stood up again. I think we could start with that park down the street. It's often empty, but I see families pass by. We could host a picnic in the name of love, a chance to bring in those who feel lost." Margaret's spirit stirred. What if we filled that picnic with not only food, but stories? We could share our experiences, invite them to share theirs, and create a space where love isn't just spoken, but felt. The congregation began to buzz with fresh energy once more. Their hearts awakened at the thought of reaching into the lives of others. Plans unfolded like petals, as laughter and excitement filled the room, blending into an atmosphere of divine possibility. In the days leading up to the picnic, they worked together. Children splashed paint on picnic blankets, while others prepared food that tasted of home. A sense of community blossomed anew under the weight of shared purpose.
Margaret could see the change. Their willingness to embrace those outside their circles knit them closer together as a congregation. The day finally arrived, bright and warm, the sun casting a golden glow over the park. As laughter echoed and joy soared, Margaret looked around at the gathering crowd, realizing just how many lives were about to touch each other. Neighbors, some familiar and others strangers, began to fill the space. As conversations sparked and laughter intertwined, others who had stayed away began to inch closer. Margaret felt her heart race at the sight. She worried briefly, questioning whether they had prepared enough, if the offering would be welcomed. But a gentle warmth flooded through her, whispering reassurance that this was God's invitation to unity. Amid the laughter, a woman stepped forward, her eyes glistening. "I haven't felt this warmth in years," she said, her voice tinged with joy and disbelief. "I felt so lost, and yet here I am. Thank you for bringing this light." Tears brimmed in Margaret's eyes as she glanced at her friends, all rejoicing in the shared miracle unfurling. They had stepped out in faith, and now the heart of the community was opening like a flower soaking in the sun. But just then, she heard a commotion along the outskirts. A family stood hesitantly at the edge, eyes filled with a mix of hope and fear. The mother clutched her child close, unsure of stepping forward into this gathering of light. A wave of realization washed over Margaret. This was the moment. They had come not just to bless others, but to embrace. With conviction swelling in her chest, she approached the family. "You're welcome here. Come, join us. We have plenty of room and love for all." As they stepped forward, Margaret felt the palpable power of love pushing past boundaries. She glanced back at her friends, whose faces mirrored her own awe. What had once felt like a gentle breeze was now a roaring wave of divine strength. They weren't merely sharing food, they were delivering hope. Yet, in the depths of her heart, a fresh question brewed. What would tomorrow look like as they continued to gather those who felt lost? Margaret sensed an invitation for even greater transformation ahead. If they could embrace this moment, what miracles awaited them just around the corner? The picnic unfurled like a tapestry of faith and connection, but in the quiet corners of Margaret's heart, anticipation mixed with uncertainty. Each hearty laugh and shared story felt like threads weaving a new fabric of community, yet she couldn't shake the increasing urgency within her. As the afternoon sun began its descent, bathing the park in soft gold, she noticed Sarah surrounded by a group of children, all of them laughing and playing games. Their joy was magnetic, drawing more families from the edges of the gathering. It was as if round after round of laughter transformed walls into open doors. Then a young girl, shy and small, slipped into Sarah's embrace, her eyes wide with curiosity. Margaret's attention shifted to another corner of the park, where a familiar face appeared. It was Timothy, the local baker, known for his gruff exterior but equally remarkable heart. He stood there, arms folded, observing the scene with guarded interest. Margaret remembered how he had often kept to himself,
convinced that effort would yield no kindness in return. "Timothy," she called, walking toward him, her heart pounding with hope. "Come and join us. Your famous pastries would make everyone smile." He hesitated, casting a sideways glance before shaking his head. "I'm not sure I belong, Margaret. You know how it is. Fairness only goes so far. Not everyone wants a grump like me." Margaret paused, searching his eyes. "It's not about fairness. It's about love. We're pouring out what we've received, and you have so much love to give, even if you don't see it yet." Timothy's hardened facade faltered at her words, just for a moment. "I don't know. I've never done anything like this." The battle of hope and self-doubt flickered in his gaze. "Well, how about this?" she offered. "You bring a basket of your specialties, and we can start a conversation. Sometimes it's through the simple act of sharing that we find our connection." As she turned to walk back toward the others, she heard his cautious footsteps following her. Margaret's heart swelled. This was the true essence of community, not just an invitation, but a willingness to step into each other's lives, however small that step may be. The gathering thrummed with life. She watched Timothy, awkward but determined, begin to mingle as he placed his basket on a picnic table adorned with crumpled blankets. Slowly, others gathered around, intrigued by the delightful scent of his baked goods. Margaret caught sight of Sarah again, now animatedly recounting a story about her own struggles, her voice growing louder with each shared detail. "I felt alone for so long," Sarah narrated, her vulnerability breaking barriers. "But the moment I stepped forward, it changed everything." The crowd leaned in, the air alive with shared emotions. This was not merely a social gathering, but an awakening, a moment where past pain transformed into hope. Joy spilled from every corner, each life woven together like a patchwork quilt, flawed yet beautiful. Margaret squeezed Timothy's shoulder in encouragement, catching a tender smile on his face as he listened. For the first time, it seemed, he was letting go of the chains of doubt that had held him captive for so long. As day transitioned into dusk, the golden sun melted into hues of orange and purple. Margaret's spirit soared. She cherished the precious miracle they were cultivating together. And just as she thought she had glimpsed the fullness of this divine gathering, a sudden hush swept through the crowd. A figure loomed in the distance, slowly approaching.
A man dressed in tattered clothing, bearing a heavy expression, as if carved by the very struggles Margaret hoped to alleviate. Her heart pounded. Who was he, and what did he seek? Would he find the same warmth they had discovered? What revelation would this stranger bring into their lives? Margaret felt the question pulse in the air, a holy anticipation that ignited the moment. With open hearts and arms, they stood ready to embrace whatever God had in store. The hush transformed into a ripple of whispers as the man drew nearer. The fading light caught the tattered edges of his clothing, highlighting the weariness etched into his face. Margaret's heart raced. She could sense an urgency in the air, as if the very ground beneath them was pregnant with expectation. "Who is he?" someone in the crowd murmured. "Looks troubled," another voice responded, tinged with concern. Margaret took a step forward. This was a moment pregnant with purpose. The warmth and vibrancy of their gathering stood in stark contrast to the man's heavy presence. Yet this persistent weight whispered of struggles shared by many. With each step he took, a silent invitation loomed. Timothy, still lingering nearby with a plate of pastries, looked between the man and Margaret's determined stance. "Should we?" he started, uncertainty scraping his voice. "Absolutely," she affirmed, her spirit ignited with conviction. "Everything we've built tonight, this community, is why we're here. It's not just for us, it's for him too." With those words, she beckoned Timothy, and together they approached the stranger. The gathering, watching with bated breath, pulled in closer, forming a semicircle of shared curiosity and hope. As they reached the man, Margaret gently addressed him. "Hello there, is everything all right?" He paused, eyes darting as if searching for an anchor in the crowd. I'm looking for something, or maybe someone." His voice was raw, and each word carried an unseen weight. Margaret's heart ached for him. "You're in a safe space. Whatever you seek, you're welcome here. We're just sharing stories, sharing love." His brow furrowed, as if caught between disbelief and a glimmer of hope. "I've lost everything, a job, my home." The vulnerability in his admission sent shivers through the crowd. Timothy stepped in hesitantly, inspired by Margaret's warm embrace of the stranger. "I know how it feels to bear that burden, but I found sometimes reaching out for help is what opens doors." He paused, his own eyes brightening at the reality of his words. "Let us help you, if you'll let us." Lifelines extended within the gathering, hands slowly reaching out toward the man, drawn by shared humanity.
Margaret caught sight of Sarah, who nodded encouragingly. The children, sensing the growing intensity, quieted. "I've lost faith," the man whispered, almost imperceptibly. "Faith can sometimes feel elusive," Margaret responded softly.
But here, in this moment, let us show you that hope has not abandoned you. Let love wrap around you. Let this community lift you. An awkward breath hung in the air, laden with hesitation, but also the burgeoning possibility of healing. There was an inhale, a moment of tenuous connection, and then a shift. The man's shoulders relaxed, just a fraction. Timothy took a step closer, now bursting with a newfound zeal. "You're not alone in this. I've walked through darkness myself. If we share this burden together, we can find light." The man nodded, his expression softening as the warmth of their compassion began to penetrate the walls he had built. Maybe I can." Just then, a child broke the solemnity, her small voice cutting through the tension. "Can we eat the pastries now?" Innocent laughter broke the heavy air, reminding everyone of the joy still present amidst sorrow. "Of course," Timothy beamed, reaching for his basket, his spirit lifting. As he offered the pastries, the crowd erupted into laughter and conversation, weaving a joyful tapestry of community and hope. Amidst the unfolding life of the gathering, Margaret realized that in their embrace of the stranger, something miraculous was already taking place. The love they poured into his weary heart was a divine grace, a reflection of their own healing journey. But just as she settled into the beauty of this revelation, another figure caught her eye, a woman standing apart, her gaze piercing, a knowing expression hinting at unshared burdens. What tales did she hold, and what patterns of grace awaited their discovery? Margaret felt the pulse of destiny quicken. It seemed the night was not done yet, and divine encounters were orchestrating a symphony far beyond their understanding. The laughter echoed like a sweet melody, weaving joy into the circles of their gathering. Margaret turned back to the man, whose expression had lightened momentarily with the warmth of shared kindness, yet she sensed the profound layers of pain still hidden beneath the surface. "Would you like to share your name?" she asked softly, her tone a gentle nudge. He hesitated, the weight of his losses clinging to him like shadows. "Call me David," he finally murmured, a flicker of trust igniting in his eyes. "Welcome, David," Timothy said, his smile unwavering. "Tonight you're among friends. We want you to feel at home." The crowd's interest shifted, collective hearts embracing David, their eyes shining with the promise of hope. As plates of goodies were passed around, a magical shift swept through the air. Laughter and the scent of pastries mingled like balm on wounds, lingering just long enough to remind everyone of life's sweetness. Margaret caught sight of the mysterious woman once more. She remained a few steps away, her gaze pinned on David. There was something in her eyes, an unwavering strength mixed with compassion. Margaret sensed a connection, as if she too understood unspoken struggles. Engaging the crowd, Margaret's voice rose above the chatter. "Let's create a space where we can lean on each other, through our stories and our laughter." She took a step back, her heart racing as she glanced at Timothy. "Can we share a story from our own lives? Something that speaks of hope, even in dark times?" "Absolutely," Timothy replied, clearly moved. As names were tossed around, stories unfurled. The man who had lost a beloved pet, the woman who had faced enforced solitude, and the child who had learned forgiveness after feeling hurt. Each tale followed like cascading water, flowing and refreshing, pulling them deeper into the river of shared humanity. David listened intently, his heart receiving each word like droplets feeding parched soil. There was truth to be found in their words, a flicker of belonging igniting in him, urging him to shed layers of shame. Inspired, he found his own voice trembling with vulnerability. I lost my job during the pandemic. My home was taken from me soon after, and with it, I lost my sense of purpose, my faith in goodness." Each silence that followed layered the air with understanding. Margaret approached him slowly, drawing from the depth of her own experiences. "David, I understand. There have been moments in my own life where I felt the earth beneath me slip away. Yet I found that it was only in the embrace of community, in the act of sharing and loving, that healing began. We are not defined by what we lose, but rather by what we choose to heal." At that, a spark ignited in David's eyes, a flicker of the hope she had spoken of. He looked around, the faces that surrounded him glimmering with unshakable faith and shared light. Just as the moment seemed to crystallize, the air sweet with promise, a shiver ran through the crowd.
The woman from the edge stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. Sometimes the burden we carry isn't meant to be shared. Sometimes it's a call to excavate depths we didn't know were there, she said, her words slicing through the murmur with clarity. What do you mean? Timothy asked, his brow furrowed with curiosity. The woman met Margaret's gaze, an unspoken acknowledgement passing between them. Sometimes we are called to seek healing in places we've never explored. We must stop seeking fairness when it's the divine strength that carries us through. David's heart raced. It was as if the heavens were stirring, beckoning him to dive deeper. But what lay beneath those surface struggles? What truths awaited to be discovered? An echo of anticipation hung in the air, the stage set for revelations yet to unfurl. Margaret felt the atmosphere change, an electric shimmer threading through their gathering. She could sense the divine presence, ready to showcase something profound within them all. What if the miracles we seek are already planted deep within our trials, waiting for our willingness to unearth them?
As these questions hung, the night promised more to come, an invitation to delve into deeper mysteries. What miracles must yet unfold in their journey together? David stood at the center of this moment, a tempest of emotions swirling within him. His gaze traveled from face to face, soaking in the kindness and openness that surrounded him. The words of the woman lingered like a haunting melody, stirring something deep within his soul, the urge to look beyond the surface. Yet doubts lingered, whispering their haunting murmurs. What if he wasn't worthy of such hope? What if healing was meant for everyone but him? Margaret sensed his hesitation. "David," she said gently, "the darkness can feel daunting, but every struggle you faced has brought you closer to this very moment, a turning point, if you let it be." David's breath hitched at her words. The truth sank in as he felt the warmth of acceptance blanket him. He nodded slowly, the weight of old fears beginning to lift, replaced by an unfamiliar lightness, a resonance of possibility. The woman, her presence steady and profound, took another step forward. "To seek fairness is to hold the world to your own standards," she articulated with grace. "But true strength comes when we release our hold and trust in divine providence. There lies a deeper plan, a miraculous orchestration awaiting those who step boldly into vulnerability." Her voice was filled with fervor, and the crowd leaned in, captivated by her conviction. David, feeling ablaze with curiosity, questioned within, what miracles awaited him if he surrendered his grip on fairness? "Imagine," she continued, "if the trials you've endured are not meant to tear you down, but rather to teach you resilience, faith, and healing. What if you are not just defined by what you have lost, but transformed by what you are ready to discover?" The room fell silent, a sacred hush enveloping them. Each heartbeat thrummed like a sacred drum, echoing the potential of renewal. For David, a spark glimmered bright, igniting his heart with a fierce warmth. Could he dare to hope once more? Margaret's eyes sparkled with compassion, her own story of resilience resonating like a familiar hymn. "We can stand with you, David. Together we can seek what's hidden within. The fears, the hopes, they all intertwine," she urged, conviction anchoring each word. David felt a shift, the invisible chains of isolation loosening their clutch. Could he venture into that uncharted territory, reclaiming the lost fragments of himself? "Let us pray together," Timothy suggested, breaking the silence with an inviting calm. "In unison, as a community, let us lift our hearts. We lay our burdens and uncertainty before the one who sees us all." Hands reached out, the warmth of touch binding their spirits. The air thickened with reverence, a unity of purpose and faith rising like incense before God. With each word spoken in prayer, David felt an invisible barrier crack.
Stories of pain folded into whispered hopes, lifting upward like cherry blossoms in spring. The heaviness that had long dwelled in him began to dissipate, replaced by the tender caress of possibility. As the prayer echoed softly around them, David felt tears welling in his eyes. It was the first sign of release, the first sign of hope. But a profound realization washed over him. Hope wasn't merely to be felt, it was to be nurtured. "Will you join us?" Margaret's voice broke through, becoming a beacon. "Will you embrace the journey of unearthing what awaits within?" The offer hung in the air, trembling with anticipation. David's heart raced, resonating with the communal beat.
With a deep breath, he nodded, a silent promise flickering to life in his chest. Yet, just as the energy shifted, a storm of wavering emotions rippled through him. What awaited him on this journey? What truths lay buried deep beneath the surface? The night held its breath, and the atmosphere crackled with divine tension. Each soul present, woven together in shared intention, leaned in collectively to witness what revelation lay just beyond the horizon of faith. And as David stood ready, the moment stretched wide with both fear and fierce anticipation. What revelation would emerge when they dared to dig deeper? As the night enveloped them, the air surged with hope, resonating with unspoken emotions. David felt a current of unity flowing through the gathering. The decision to embrace vulnerability sent a warmth through his heart. Margaret, sensing the shift, wrapped her arm around David's shoulders, her touch infusing him with courage. "Together we will explore, not just your struggles, but our own," she affirmed, her voice firm yet gentle. "It's time for healing to begin, not just for you, but for all of us." As they shared in the moment of prayer, David's tears began to fall, each drop a release, a shedding of burdens he had carried for too long. In that sacred space, surrounded by loving faces, he felt a profound connection, an invisible thread woven through shared humanity, binding them all together. "Let's take a moment," Timothy suggested, his voice calm yet vibrant. "Let's share what we hope for moving forward. What do we wish to unearth together in this journey?" Hands tightened around one another, and as the circle of love expanded, one by one, they spoke of their hopes. "I hope to rediscover the joy I lost when I lost my job," said David, his voice trembling yet unyielding. "I hope to rebuild my self-worth and see the beauty that waits for me." Others followed. Sarah confessed her fears of inadequacy, yearning to step out of her comfort zone and embrace her gifts. Old Mr. Thompson wished for healing in a fractured friendship that had weighed heavily on his heart. The young girl, who had once been shy, expressed her desire to see others smile, to share laughter and joy. Each testimony echoed like sacred music, a symphony of dreams intertwined.
As voices melded, Margaret felt the gentle pulse of divine presence move through them, a testament to the miracles shaping right before her. They gathered closer, hands interlocked, breathing as one. "We can't let fear dictate our steps," she urged. "Together, we cultivate courage. We can keep seeking, asking the deep questions, trusting that whatever is beneath the surface will transform us." David looked at her, surprised by the flicker of strength blooming within him. "Will you stand by me as I learn to navigate this path?" he asked, barely above a whisper. "Always," Margaret answered, resolve shimmering in her eyes. Then the mysterious woman stepped forward again, her presence commanding yet inviting. "It's time," she declared, as if the heavens had whispered a calling. "Each of you has a poignant role to play. Your stories will catalyze healing, not just in your lives, but in this village. Are you ready to dig deeper?" Answers flowed freely. "Yes!" came the chorus, an overwhelming wave of voices embracing the shared mission. "Let's start tonight," she continued, her eyes glinting with purpose. "Let's unite in our collective faith. Gather your families, your friends. Call upon those who need to know they're not alone. Let love spread beyond these walls." Margaret beamed, knowing that their meeting wasn't just about personal transformations. It was a divine calling to extend compassion outward. The picnic ignited a fire of hope. We came together as one, and now we can reach beyond to ignite that same flame in others. Their hearts swelled with anticipation as they imagined the families who would join them, the souls whose lives would be changed, simply by an invitation grounded in love. As night settled around them, a soft breeze whispered through the gathering, as if heaven itself approved their course. They knelt together, hands clasped, hearts open, ready to pray for guidance, healing, and the miraculous. Margaret led the prayer, her voice strong and clear. "Lord, we thank you for this sacred community. We ask for your strength as we navigate the unknown. Help us deliver hope to those who feel unseen. Illuminate the path ahead so that we may walk alongside each other and those in need. May love be our guiding light." Voices rose in harmony, and within the stillness, hope thrummed through them like a heartbeat. And then the miraculous occurred. An overwhelming sense of peace washed over David, grounding him in his vulnerability. He dared to let the realization seep into his bones. He was not alone. As they rose, buoyed by the spirit of unity, Margaret felt a deep-seated joy flourish within her. This was the true essence of faith, the beautiful tapestry woven through shared struggles and triumphs. The gathering began to disperse, heartbeats still echoing with the promise of what lay ahead.
David approached each member of the community, expressing his gratitude, a newfound spark lighting his eyes. Thank you for welcoming me tonight.
I see you, and I am beginning to believe I can see myself too. Their laughter filled the air, joy pouring from their souls as they planned their next steps, sharing their love, their stories, their salvation with all around them. Margaret watched them scatter into the night, her spirit racing with anticipation for what was to come. Would they unlock the hidden strength of their community? Would their hearts flood with miracles as they embraced the call to love deeper? As the stars shone brightly overhead, illuminating the path beneath their feet, Margaret felt the divine invitation envelop her once more. This was just the beginning. In the weeks to come, as love cascaded through Willowbrook, they would learn that seeking fairness paled in comparison to holding hands and facing challenges together, stepping boldly into the light, embracing the miraculous deliverance waiting for them all. Now, dear friends, we invite you to be part of this journey. If you felt the tug of hope in your heart, you need to subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next miraculous stories that unfold. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and send love into the world. We want to hear from you. Comment your reactions and testimonies about the journey and the miracles you wish to see. And don't wait even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness the manifestation of faith, love, and hope. Join us as we step boldly into the miracle of community where love reigns supreme.